Set.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Spin Rack. This is March here. I'm here with my boys, PD and Cal. Say what's up, gents.
What's going on?
Ready to rock.
Hey, we're here to discuss the passing of one of a movie legend, a TV legend, Carl Weathers. He was Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He was in The Predator. He was, he's been around forever. He's been a director of the Mandalorian, one of the Mandalorian shows, as well as being an actor within it. So hey, let me have the guys come in and discuss their thoughts about it, and also don't forget Action Jackson. I always did love that movie. So, PD Cal, take it away.
Well, this is a tough thing because at first, if when I met him in the, in the Rocky movies, those portions, because I saw those on television, and he had, excuse my French, the unf-wittable face. He looked like that he was going to hurt you, and then at the same time, in the thing, so you look at him as like this sort of villain, but at the same time, when you get to the third movie, when he comes in there, he steals the whole. Mr. T already stole the movie, and then he steals it back because he becomes the bully that is your friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's respecting, the Italian stallion. He's respecting Rocky. He's coming in there as a gentleman, and that is Carl Weathers. Even though he's like this guy that's, like the physique, this, that, and the other, intimidation, but he's ultimately, when you hear him in interviews, a scholar. And that's the thing, as an actor, he's done comedies. It's a really terrible loss because he's on Good Times. Like, this guy has done so much in his career, and able to come into the movie with a whole bunch of into The Predator, and he played one of the characters that kind of keep the story, makes the story a little stronger. That this is a person who kind of went into this thing for the wrong reasons, but he's trying to fix it towards the end, even though it's a slasher and he's going to meet his demise. He added a little more character to the story because you think that is he the guy who set them up, or he really believes it. So it's kind of nope. You find in the end he really thought they were going to be doing some good, and now he's trying to put it back together because the odds were against him in the Predator. So this, from everything that he's done, he's definite talent, and seeing him getting into directing, there's only the sky the limit. And I think one of the statements he said is that, hey, I didn't get into this business to become a movie star. I wanted to be a working actor, and you can do that. And that's a testament of not sitting around there saying, hey, why didn't I get this? Why didn't I get that? He wanted to be a working actor. I mean, he did the movie with Adam Sandler, where he played a character with no hand and whatnot, and they played he was a good straight man. So he's like very, a scholar and a talent, could do basically anything. So
I had a problem that I liked Carl Weathers' character, and in a lot of movies that I was watching, he kept dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he died in Rocky 4.
Yeah.
He died in Predator. He dies in Happy Gilmore.
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, it was like, I had a hard time watching him in Happy Gilmore. I was just like, man, this was a dude I was such a big fan of, but I thought, he would have a more, just more of a career at the end of the day. But then, life is long. You see him with the Mandalorian. Did he ever do anything with the Expendables and Stallone?
I don't know that he did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising.
No, I don't know. I don't know why, he never made an appearance in the Expendables. I don't know, so, but, I was looking forward to seeing him in there, but, take a page from Sam's book. Yeah. My first introduction to him was Rocky 3, because I remember I saw like the ending of Rocky 2. I was too young to really go to the theaters and watch it, and I hadn't caught any of it on TV. I wouldn't do that till years later. And so and it was on TV. I probably saw it as well. My first introduction was Rocky 3. And so, I didn't have any of the backstory, but all I saw was this guy who was coming in to train Rocky. And, I was like, oh, this is cool. It came across as cool. And then I finally got the underlying thing. It's like, no, he wants to fight him, but he doesn't want to fight this loser. He wants to fight a champion. He's like, I want to beat you. I don't want to beat this. I'm going to build you up. He gives him the training, teaches him to move differently, everything of that portion. And, then he goes over the beast and he's like, okay, now we're going to get this fight. It's just between the two of us. And for years, it's just immortalized in that image, that painting, if you will, of them just both swinging at each other.
Yeah.
and then years later we'll find out about it. But very long career. I enjoyed Action Jackson, but again, as a kid, I never knew how successful these things were. I always gauged that a movie was successful by going to the theater, and if the audience seemed like they were having a good time, oh, so the movie was a success. And then you come find out later that, what do you mean that wasn't a hit? Had vanity. How could people not like that? How could people not like that movie? So I would, I mean, like, just like you guys, I enjoyed just about everything I saw, Carl Weathers do in terms of television, in terms of film. I agree with you. I agree with you, Petey, that this guy had a really imposing figure. Because I remember when I finally did see Rocky, and I saw how his physique, and I saw Rocky's. I thought it worked for that film, though. I guess it was supposed
Yeah.
to show look, going against the champion, and Rocky is just kind of like, you know, he's like, I'm a little bit better than off the couch in terms of physique, that type of stuff. But it definitely played for it. And then by the second movie, we'll see Stallone in better shape, and forget about it. After by Rocky 3, he's doing Rambo, just totally different echelon at the end of the day. But hey, with everybody that we cover who passes away, rest in peace, Carl Weathers. You've earned it, and you've left a great legacy of film and television. For fans and for future fans to enjoy.
And so let's not also forget he actually played. He was an Oakland Raider. So those Raider fans, what is it? What was the LA Raiders now? That it is. He was one of us. And that's why he had that fantastic physique because he had to keep in shape for stuff like that.
Well, no, I was going to add the thing that Cal brought up of Apollo wanting that he says he wanted a favor and wanting to ultimately have Stallone back at the top because he's saying that fraction of a second. One of the best scenes in the training is when Apollo is telling him what's going to happen. He's doing that thing and he's like hitting him and he's killing Rocky and this, that, and the other. And there's not a moment of ego where he's saying, I can just beat the hell out of Rocky. He's like, no, as a trainer, it's like saying, I'm putting you in that moment where he's going to take you out. And he's like, what's the matter with you, Rock? What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. He's like, I'll train tomorrow. There's like all that stuff. It's like so many classic lines between, and it's like, Rocky is the star of the movie, but it's like Mr. T and Apollo. It's not that they didn't actually carry the movie, but they have all of the lines that just you always remember, and it's always stuff that you could carry on to this day. So it's like, but and the fact that the hard part is in the casting, you had to find someone that was going to be like the Muhammad Ali, but someone that would be the people would hate enough where the first one is such a perfect movie because Paulo doesn't care about Italian Stallion. Nobody cares about him. And it's a surprise that he's a challenge. The second movie plays to us and the fans because we want Rocky to win. So we have Apollo just murdering style. He's just murdering all of his his trainer, all of the people he's training with, his sparring partners. And then the third one, he comes in there and he's like, when we see the champion, the old champions come in, and it's just like, oh yeah, I didn't think he was going to be in this movie. I thought it was just Rocky versus this new intimidating Mr. T thing. And then, he's going to the hood. He's going to the hood and fighting and this, that. But that scene where they're fighting, and it's just like, there's no ego in the character. The character is like, he's towering over Rocky. He's just battering him in the head. He's bringing him to that moment as a trainer. And in truth, for a long time, I didn't think you could actually take a fighter and switch them how they fight, but I've only seen it really happen with Barrera and Prince Nassim, where the fighter actually changed how he fought to defeat a person, where he just changed everything that he did. But this movie kind of portrayed that, and I know watching a lot of fighters, you never see them switch, but it's like, oh, okay, you can do it, but the person has to like change all their habits. And like Barrera you never saw it happen. Everyone thought he was going to just be bullheaded. And he came in there with a whole different boxing plan and just embarrassed the boxer. So
probably the best example of a fighter changing styles is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, another one too. Yeah,
that's two different. Though Muhammad Ali is two different fighters. Taking his license, was a conscientious objector, and when he came back, before the whole float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, movement, speed, and it wasn't that he wasn't fast when he came back, but that Ali, when he comes back afterwards, after that 3 year imposed hiatus, is more of a toe to toe fighter, and he shows, look, he can take the punishment, he can fight toe to toe, strategies quite there. So yeah, you can. It's done, but it's rare. It's rare. Usually, what the fighter has to do is you've got your style, you got this guy's style, and neutralize his style with your own, as opposed to no, I'm gonna have to bring on some whole new stuff. A lot of guys can't do it, but the great ones can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and what's also interesting about his career is that even though he doesn't appear in the Creed movies, the very fact that they use Apollo Creed as the father of the Creed character, it's interesting when you have a side character whose presence is important.
Yeah.
I wish he would have been able. They did have some flashbacks, but he was dead. Unfortunately, there was no way to bring him back in. I assume, right? So, um, but it's interesting that became a successful franchise on its own.
I think Stallone regrets taking him out, saying because they had Mickey die, and then it just became kind of a series where the next person would die, and it would play out Rocky dealing with the death of a person, whether he was just hurt and went to the hospital. But everything in movies is writ large, so you can't. There's no way in hindsight to not say like, why are we like killing Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like you want the maximum effect. So, and the audience is sitting there on the edge of their seats, like really worried about Apollo getting pummeled. Now, obviously, the way Rocky 4 happened, like it was just like this guy gets totally destroyed in the first round, that he had no legs left in the first round of the first or second round of the fight. Like it's totally ridiculous, but for maximum effect, it worked. If you're coming into the series as a fan, as a person who just likes Rocky, this is going to deal Rocky into the next thing to fight with all his heart to kill him. But at the same time, it's just like, all right, they pushed it where they had these long 15-round fights, like the way the Rumble in the Jungle was, to these first round pre Tyson fights. Everything was now what Tyson would become. The first round where the person just pummels around the guy with no problem. So, but yeah, to go into it, like they gave him even though there's obviously issues with Action Jackson, he got to do a solo film and just be around there. But it's it's a tough one. I expected him to be around a little bit longer to do some more Mandalorian, but you can't always expect that sort of thing. So.
I know. I mean, we got to remember this dude was like 76, but he seemed vigorous enough. In all his roles, he always seemed to command that particular presence. From the Rocky to the Predator, until even the Mandalorian. I don't know why him and it seems Stallone had a weird relationship. They seem close at times and not close at times. So I don't know. I mean, you figure there was this whole issue with the Expendables, whether he would be added to it after all. I mean, he literally, Stallone said all the action stars, and yet he wasn't part of it. And it just tells you, to me, it seemed that they weren't as close. But, Stallone came out with a heartfelt, came out saying something about, how much you missed him and stuff like that. And if he has, see if I can find this thing for you guys. And, he's in his, it's on his Instagram, and he behind has that great Rocky and
the picture the cow was talking about.
I think it's in his bar or something. It's got to be in his home or something. But it's
all right. So the question is, in that third fight at the end when they take the picture, who do you think was going to win? In your own opinion, I went for Apollo. I thought from the picture, I felt Apollo had the shot in one place. What do you guys think?
I thought Apollo had it also, but I love the fact of the ending. That was just a great thing where you didn't know what was going to happen, and yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
I was happy not knowing. I'm not feel good either way. If Apollo wins, I'm kind of like, oh, come on, Rocky. And if Rocky wins, like, oh, that's terrible. They would never. He always guys are shafting Apollo. So I'm not gonna win either way because of how much I like both characters. So I was just happy not knowing.
Mm.
And what we got to give, I mean, Sylvester Stallone bringing that character, writing that character, getting that character produced, acting in the movie, I mean, it just, and with Carl Weathers being there as his perfect.
Have you seen the choreography?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's really interesting to show him talking with Apollo, and Apollo's, Carl Weathers towering over him, and they're showing you hit me like this, and they would do the 1 2 1 2, and then and you see what's the name acting like he's getting hit, and they would go through the motions of how this would go, but you see Stallone in there, working it out, and it's like you see that kind of like as a as he I don't know, he wasn't directing at that point, but he was kind of working out some of the fight scenes, which was interesting to see, and to see that at this early stage, like Carl Weathers wasn't looking at it like, can we get a real choreographer? He was all in it with them too. It's always good to see when you see like the talent just like all in it to make it better.
I heard about that. So let's try this out, and it went off the rails. So
Oh
they're like,
yeah.
yeah, we got to get a choreographer in here because they were doing stuff, and then of course they're both guys, and so they're all right. So I'm gonna throw this. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and like next thing you know, I remember I did this. We were like, I was in a fencing class, and I was with this dude, and both of us are like trying to get each other. And before you know it, it looked like the battle, the brawl for it all at the end of the day. To the point the teacher had to go after us and was like, "Hey, scale it down, scale it down." And mind you, all we would do, it was just natural competition. He was, yeah, and before you know it, it looked real. It looked real. Get a choreographer in there. They had to get a choreographer in there eventually.
Yeah, but it came off pretty good, bro. I gotta say.
Oh, hey, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hey, is there anything else you want to add before we close this out?
The other crazy part of this going on the Rocky sort of thing is that Rocky's trainer, Apollo's trainer became Rocky's trainer, and that kind of that's the only thing that always hells up in those other Rocky movies is Apollo's trainer being in those other movies. I always thought he was like, you don't even I mean, he was in like the Hulk playing the bad guy and whatnot, but he brought so much. He's the other actor who played the Apollo's trainer. He kind of, we lost him a while before, but he sells the first Rocky because he's the one who's looking at, as a trainer, he's looking at Rocky's TV appearances where he's punching the what's the name. And he's like, and he's seeing his training. He's like, he's watching film. He's like, oh man. I said, hey champ, I think you need to train a little more. And he kind of him starting to worry about him. And then the second movie, it's even more like that. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. That last fight took a lot out of you. I'm not sure about that." He's like, no, give me another person. And it's like it tells you that this is going to be a challenge, whereas you don't know that because this guy's a brawl fighter. But ultimately, we only have another fight. We have the guy that everyone laughed at against Tyson Fury, and he came and knocked him down in the second round. So much so that Tyson Fury didn't try to mix it up with him anymore. He was like, I'm going to stay away. I'm going to elbow this guy. I'm going to do everything not to get hit by this guy. So sometimes the brawler can get in there and do stuff. But anyway, going back to Carl Weathers, it's a tough thing to see him, that he's not with us. And I will say again, he's a gentleman and a scholar out at the same time being, having, this person who had this physique, and it's very intimidating. So he was very much, an actor, and at the same time, he also he was a specimen at the same time too. So.
Anything else?
Yeah, Carl Weathers, rest in peace.
Rest in power, Carl Weathers. Been a rack.
Out.